Morning, everybody. Thanks for logging in. I'm just going to give it a few minutes for everyone to get in front of their screens and get comfy. So just bear with us while we let the numbers grow a bit. But yeah, thanks again for taking the time out to come and see us. As you know, you can ask questions throughout the deck of slides if we can try and catch them on the go. But if you wanted to save it till the end, there is going to be a Q&A section at the end of this session. So whichever way you want to do it, I'll try and pick up the questions in the meantime, or we'll let Mike have a look at the end. But as I say, bear with us a couple of ticks while we let the numbers grow. I don't believe we're quite at 10 o'clock yet, so shan't be long, and we'll get cracking. But thanks again for coming to visit the webinar this morning. Welcome, everybody. Right, I'll make it around 10:01, so let's give it one more minute and then we'll kick off. But thank you for the time. Right, well, let's get going then. Welcome, good morning, everybody, and thank you again for coming to visit our webinar this morning. As you can see, my colleague Mike Sims is on the call. Just wanted to run across the agenda for today and give you a bit of an update of where Westcoast are at with the Dell Technologies relationship, how our channel is growing. Basically, today we're going to be looking at the Apex model, some live optics insights from Mike, how the Westcoast team are developing and growing, and then looking at the channel first announcement that Dell have been making recently about entertaining more things through the distribution channel, which is obviously welcome news for us. So just to kick off, it's been a very, very busy 18 months for the Westcoast team. You know, we've come into a very strong, busy channel, and I suppose the question you ask yourself is, how do we make ourselves a bit different? Well, it's been investing in people mainly, making sure we are a customer-facing, accredited strong team across the whole portfolio. And the team it comes from years and years of heritage across the channel in different specialisms. And what we want to do is create a lot of personal relationships with our customers and keep the quality of service as high as we can possibly get it. So hopefully you're feeling that we do actually care about the model, that we are actually adding some value, and that we can bring something to your market too. The competition is strong, but we do like to think that not just by sort of dropping everything and making a bit of a mess of the market, we are actually looking at getting involved earlier and studying things in lines of business with you, vertical markets that are working, and obviously emerging technologies with Dell. So keep us in the loop of what you're working on, and we'll flex our team to support you. I think one of our main strengths is in our pre-sales team. We like to engage early. We have a huge amount of accreditations now. I think there's three technical architects, which is about as high as you can get in the UK accreditation scheme. So very proud to be able to come to market early, engage, design things with you, and go from end to end, rather than just sort of coming at the last second and converting a bill of materials into a quote. the staff training that's going on within Westcoast it's a moving model, so it's always ongoing, and we're trying to create a matrix of vertical growth in our internal skills here. So we want our team to be able to help you understand your business more, be able to ask intelligent questions. So hopefully you're seeing a great level of interest from our technical team and sales teams. We're also getting to understand much deeper into the Dell market with things like the MSP models, VAR, CSP, and SI. Again, it's a moving target, so we're always on the growth path. But the Dell channel first message for us is a really bit of a game changer, i.e., it makes us much more important more early to engage with you guys and even end user facing. So if you do have an opportunity and you want distribution to have a look and see where we can actually add some value and some commercial value, look up the team. We're all here to help you out from early on. I think with the events and webinars we're trying to put forward, we are very much an outward facing business. We want people to meet people and go back to the old school message of being, we're right here to support you. Shake hands, have meetings, have QBRs, create bespoke business models together, commercial values in place that give you transparency and a lot of caring models from us. We've launched Apex first in the UK as the Flex on Demand model, which was a huge proud moment for Westcoast. It took a lot of work to get it over the line, but we are, as I say, first to market. It really is starting to gain some traction now, and we've had a large deal with lots of zeros on the end of it go through rather recently. So it's a working model. So if you are actually considering looking at the Apex model, speak to the Westcoast team first. We're the heritage. We know where it starts, we know where it ends, and we can basically put all the dots together for you. Emerging technologies. Obviously, we're seeing things moving at a great pace now with things like AI coming to the market as a much more digestible as channel market for us. Our guys are looking to be ahead of the curve when it comes to distribution. So we're taking time to get a lot of support and guidance from Dell as into what we should be looking at, and our guys will be able to take that to market fast and first. Obviously, we've got options in how you actually come to market, whether it's a CapEx or OpEx model or a hybrid. These flex models, deed of assignments, and we even have US dollar accounts and euro accounts now to trade through to help you go to market. So again, displaying flexibility in distribution. I think one of the things we're most proud of is that we are fast and get our process correct. And that was one of the best things about coming into the market from scratch. And I'm 24 years into distribution, but it gives you an opportunity to take away the bad things that weren't suited the model and make sure you have a correct linear path to market first time round. And having our own deal registration team, the bid team, our own product management team, and finance is so flexible. I'm really proud to work at Westcoast and be able to take the market as fast as we are with a quality of service that is super high. We've got lots of tools in place. I mean, one that we need more customers to be using is the Power Quote model, which is an online sign-in through our website, which shows all of our Dell on-the-shelf stock. So all the towers and racks that we have on the shelf and all the components to go with them shows you live stock numbers, shows you the promotional prices, bespoke prices out for yourself, and you can press go and order online for next day delivery. It covers, as I'm saying, pretty much most of the tower and rack stuff, and we've got a really good stock hold. So we'd like to see more people using that, and you can do that in cohesion with your account manager here at Westcoast to log in and do the quote together. It corrects any mistakes, tells you how much RAM you can have, tells you how many disks you've got, and also you can add all your Microsoft operating systems, etc., and warranty uplifts from there as well. And Westcoast can even build the kit together for you under quality control. So we'll test it to working, repack it into a single box, make sure it's all ready to go, and deliver it to yourselves or your end user next day or a couple of days' time for a very small cost. So please look into that for us. I think the only real ask for us is that you give us a go. 18 months in, we've taken the market pretty much by storm, and we're very proud to say that we have a working model. We just need more people to start working with us and start looking at our agenda to work with your agenda and become bespoke models for you. So without any further ado, I'd like to pass you across to Mike. But as I say, there is a Q&A session at the end of this, or if you'd like to ask questions in the meantime throughout the session, I'll try and answer the best I can through the Q&A box on the screen. But thank you again for attending, and Mike, over to you.
Thanks very much, Ollie. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Mike Sims. So I'm a dedicated Dell solutions architect here at Westcoast. So I am a pre-sales consultant by trade, shall we say, with a vast background and experience, formerly working for Dell for many years. I joined the Westcoast team this year. So I help out, on calls, sizing, solution building, and everything in between, for customer procurement, essentially. So when it comes to, the links into Dell and everything like that, we've got, those very good relationships with the Dell expertise in-house. So yeah, absolutely. Westcoast, as Ollie just said, we are, really up there, taking it by storm now in terms of our capability around the Dell offerings, and everything in between. So one of the things we want to talk about today, with that, obviously partner opportunities, is the recent announcement of the Dell partner first strategy for storage. So this is a bit of a game changer where Dell are concerned, with their go-to-market approach. So it's kind of widely known that Dell have an internal sales force, internal sales, and there could have always been a conflict of interest, or a potential conflict with a customer opportunity. And what this new announcement really does is open up the market for partners and sell through the channel. So what this is actually doing is opening up the market to 99% of the Dell global partners across the globe. There is still going to be that 1% where Dell have got a direct footprint in with that customer. However, that's not to say that particular customer can't buy through a reseller. So that's not ruling out there's 1% that no one can access, but Dell is actually open up to everyone. So it's down to that opportunity, where the customer's at, etc., in your relationship with them. And one of the big changes with this announcement as well, as I just said, Dell have got their own internal sales force. But what this actually changes now is those internal salespeople are actually higher compensated now, when transacting through a partner. So traditionally, yep, they would probably make more commission if they could take the deal direct. However, they've moved the goalpost on this, whereby they'll actually make more commission if they put it through a partner rather than trying to take it directly to Dell. So, for the channel, that is just the best news you can possibly have, especially when it comes to storage. So, in terms of that, with the announcement, there's the partner of record status for these accounts. We'll talk a bit more about that, how you get that, etc., in a second. But essentially, it's opened up 4 times the number of opportunities, essentially, which would have traditionally been, potential conflict with Dell themselves. So in terms of the rules of engagement with this, obviously the key to everything really in the first instance is deal registration, as we all know and love, whether you love it or hate it. But those rules of engagement are very kind of hard set within Dell now as well. So if that internal Dell salesperson tries to transact directly with the partner, it will breach that rules of engagement. They will not receive any compensation on the deal whatsoever. And obviously, if they're a repeat offender, they'll be subject to further sanctions as well. So whether that means, the worst case scenario of dismissal, that's what it will come down to if they, don't toe the line, essentially. So, how do we get these into the mix of, partner only recognized registration? So as I said, it's either deal registration or obtaining and being down as the partner of record for that particular customer. If you have either of those, then that's essentially not the internal salesperson frozen out. They just have to work with you. They're not allowed to work without you, essentially. So how do you get this partner of record path for storage? So 2 routes. There's the typical acquisition approach, so deal reg, essentially. So even out of that 1% of the 99, If you can get a deal reg approved, then you're in there. Dell will work with you, whatever the case. However, there's net new business through acquisition. So to obtain that partner of record via that route, as long as you sell more than $15K worth of storage, and that doesn't have to be, primary storage or anything like that. That covers HCI, VX Rail of the product sets, as well as backup and even Apex offerings as well. So as long as it's covered over those products, then you will get that partner of record. And of course, that 15K doesn't have to be in one particular transaction. It can be across a 6 months period. Now, if you've already transacted with a customer in the past and you've sold one of those storage-based products, if you've sold over 15K of storage within the last 18 months, you should already have that partner of record noted down, essentially, and we can retrieve that, or you should be able to retrieve that via the partner portal of the accounts that you have partner record with. However, if it's not showing or you can't find it, by all means reach out to ourselves or your Dell partner account manager, and they should be able to give you that list of customers around it. So just to finish on, around this is a absolute fantastic announcement for the channel. As I say, it's been kind of widely known over the years that, are Dell going to try and take this deal direct, or, decline a deal registration because of whatever reason. However, the goalposts have really changed now, and the way Dell are restructuring internally really shows that they're focused more and more on the channel now. There's certainly a lot more requests from Dell directly coming to myself, for instance, to help out on customer opportunities. So it's just going in the right direction for everyone on this call and everyone else involved. Just going to stop there for a sec, guys. If there's any Q&A, as Ollie said, by all means drop it into the Q&A. If there's any particular questions around the partner of record elements, drop it in there, or we can open up at the end for the Q&A session, and we'll be happy to answer anything on that. So just going to move now on to Dell Apex. So I'm sure everyone on the call hopefully has heard of Apex and what it encompasses. However, essentially what Apex is, it's an umbrella name. It's not a product. It's essentially a branding, shall we say, of everything subscription based. So we've got two routes to purchasing customer equipment or solutions. It's either always been CapEx or OpEx, and anything that's OpEx based, ongoing subscription based, whether it's bespoke hardware or something that's hosted in the cloud, it comes under the Apex branding now. So it's just purely a name of an overall branding. So when we talk about, the CapEx versus OpEx, there's three routes to this now with Dell. So you've got your purchase products. So very traditional. You come with a list of requirements, or, we do assessments, etc. A solution is spec'd out, present to the customer, they accept it, they purchase, via a CapEx means, or, bank owned, they borrow the money via the bank, but ultimately that kit is bought by the customer and owned by the customer. And of course, there's optional services around that us as partners can offer on top of that. The next thing up is subscribing to a product. So this has kind of been around for a long time. Dell have named it, Flex on Demand in the past, or Elastic storage and things like that. It's been various names over the years. But essentially, very much like the purchase product CapEx route, you still, do your due diligence in terms of the requirements. You build a custom set of hardware, software around the solution and all the services. However, it's purchased as a consumption-based model, which is, essentially owned by Dell, or it can be, a kind of pay-as-you-go service as well. So it's consumption-based. They can start small, they expand up, they have a monthly payment, and as they expand, up into higher capacities, etc., they pay more money each month. And again, optional services around that. the newest offering, and it seems to be, you know, the way the world is going, and that's subscribing to a service. So kind of a mix of the first two routes. However, in this instance, you know, we still have to do our due diligence in terms of customer requirements, capacity, and everything else. However, Dell more curates the offer. So things are still delivered on-prem or in the cloud, but they're more prescriptive. They're kind of, you know, t-shirt size solutions around now. But again, still consumed on a consumption-based model where you pay as you go. And that is always going to be Dell owned at the end of it as well. In the subscribe to product category, customer can, you know, essentially lease the hardware and software, and at the end of the term, they kind of hand it back, upgrade, renew, whatever they want to do. However, in the subscribe to service, it's always going to be owned by Dell at the end. It's kind of like hiring a car rather than, you know, doing one on a hire purchase. But ultimately, you know, that can be Dell managed. It could actually be customer managed as well. But, you know, for those turnkey solutions, customer, you know, has a very small or no internal IT, for instance, and they want a turnkey solution, someone else to take care of all the day-to-day running, the ins and outs, the life cycle management. That is something where subscribing to a service really, really pays dividends today. So in terms of the offerings, it's growing and growing. So pretty much, you know, the entire Dell portfolio now is coming under that Apex banner. So as you can see there on the left, you know, anything from client devices, PC as a service. So, you know, that's through from, you know, procuring desktops, laptops, etc., imaging on customers' behalf, asset tagging, the whole lot, delivering them to site, having them pre-set up for their users, through that, you know, hardware break fix, everything else, the full life cycle management of, you know, through to data destruction off of those devices, for instance. PC can be delivered as a service. It's pretty much given nowadays. Then, you know, we move into the more, you know, data center centric elements of it, and these are a lot of where the new offerings are coming from now. So we have things like Dell Apex storage services. So again, that's a you know, primary storage offering where it can be deployed on-prem or even in the cloud or in a hosted data center. Can be hands off from the customer completely if it's Dell managed, or, you know, they can manage it as themselves. Lots of new offerings coming through AWS as well. So you see there coming soon, block storage for AWS. Don't want to get into obviously the technical ins and outs. More than happy to take that in a separate session if anyone wants to talk further about that. But what that's really doing is enabling that hybrid cloud approach for customers. So they've got, you know, a footprint on-prem, and they want to leverage, you know, using AWS as a hybrid cloud and move workloads in between seamlessly, or even enhance the performance within AWS itself through deploying and aggregating the performance of the offerings from AWS as a single entity, but aggregating that across several, you know, to really speed up and performance on the back end and things like that. Again, not going to get too technical on that. And then, of course, you know, cyber and data protection, massive thing these days. And one of the key things that's really getting excited about now is Dell Apex backup services, completely deployed in the cloud, very, very fast to set a customer up and get running with their backups on this. No hardware to deploy on site at all. Everything is in the cloud. And it's a monthly subscription, you know, either capacity based or per user based subscription model. Fantastic if you're selling, you know, desktops, laptops, things like that, and they want to back up clients. Absolutely fantastic platform for that, as well as that cyber resiliency element of it as well. So again, more than happy to have a conversation about that. We can do demos of it, the whole lot. Very, very simple to use and very, very simple to set up. Proof of concepts we can do, and then just flick a switch and put them into full production. So the time to value is beyond anything we've seen before. I won't go into all the other things. You know, there's offerings for compute HCI as well. And then finally, there's custom flex on demand. So again, that's going back to the more of a subscription based consumption. So again, it's, you know, a bespoke, non-curated by Dell route of doing things, but again, it's consumed as they grow, so they can start small and purchase as they go, and pay more as they grow. So what does that mean for us partners and everyone else in between? So, you know, as you can imagine, they'll actually offer very, very good incentives around taking this approach to the market now. And of course, as I've kind of described just now on the backup as a service and things like that, very, very fast, you know, setup times, get them off and running. We all know, you know, introducing a new backup solution, for example, or migrating data from a end of life back-end storage onto a new one, it can be months in the making, you know, just in the procurement stage, not to mention the actual migration of the data itself and setting these new backups up, etc. But these platforms actually enable us to really speed up these elements, so it's just beneficial for all involved, for us and the customer. So, and again, you know, from our perspective as partners, you know, being able to, you know, if it's as a service offering, being able to kind of ship that over to Dell to worry about, because they, you know, will set the levels of expectation in terms of performance and capacities and things like that. We can focus on the actual, you know, the higher value stuff of consulting with the customers, you know, those migration steps, the whole lot involved. So, you know, and it makes you sticky. So, you know, you can spend more time with the customer. It makes you sticky because they're subscribing to a service. And of course, you're in the mix with that at all times as well. So it's not a case of, yeah, they start, you know, transacting, subscribing to a service from Dell and we're no longer relevant. It's very much different with that these days. So I'll just jump on to the next slide around that. So, you know, by being sticky with the customer, you know, you're sticking very close to them. In terms of all the monitoring around this as well, you know, there's things like the Apex console, where it is, you know, a kind of very simplified ordering process. The customer can see their current environment, what they're consuming, and you can see that as a partner as well, because essentially, you know, you're the one that's, you know, kind of not hosting their environment. That is a possibility. I'll talk about that in a sec. But, you know, you're the incumbent with the customer, so you have full view of what's happening in their environment. If they're obviously growing to a point where they need to expand, you're very much going to be in the mix of that as well. So again, makes you very sticky with the customer, in terms of that. So, and, you know, it's not just necessarily customer offerings. You know, we've got partners out there which are looking to do, you know, managed services. This is brilliant for that, but also, you know, hosted managed services. So again, you know, if we go back to the old kind of route to doing things, if a partner wanted to set up a hosted, you know, offering for their customers, they'd have to procure all that hardware up front. You know, it's a massive capital outlay, and it's a gamble, really. You know, they say build it and they will come. They usually do. However, you know, that time to recognizing profit on those investments, you know, can be, you know, several months to a year even. However, you know, taking the Apex approach, you know, in your own environment to host other partners makes you even more stickier, because you're actually holding all their data and everything around that. You're managing their entire environment. But again, you're not having to lay out that capital expenditure first. It's a route of, you know, paying as you grow. So if you have a couple of customers already, you know, on board looking to do that kind of thing, you can start there. And then as you expand your offering out, those customers will of course come on board, and you just pay more as the environment grows. And of course, you know, you're making more profit through those means at the same time. So it's a very much a scaling model in terms of expenditure versus profit. A much safer route. So again, just going to pause there. I hope I haven't bombarded you with too much in one hit on all that. Again, any questions or anything that wasn't clear on that, bang into the Q&A and we can answer at the end. So I'm just going to move on to live optics now. I'm sure many of you again heard of Live Optics. So this is Dell's de facto tool for gathering data for existing customer environments. Anyone that's been around Dell for lots of years, they might have heard of their previous incarnation of tools. However, things have moved on where there's different workloads to be had over in the modern infrastructures. And what Live Optics does is it assesses customer environments in a nutshell. So any environment, whether it's VMware based, Windows based, Hyper-V, Linux, this tool, free to use, free to download. We can be involved with this, or you can run it yourself. Very, very simple, gets up and running within 5 minutes. And it will literally, go out, scan the customer's environment and upload it back to the Live Optics portal, creating you a very comprehensive report, which you can, of course, give back to the customer. It's their data after all. And it really gives you those insights into the customer environment, to know exactly what they've got, what it's doing. If it's overloaded, for example, they're looking to refresh, or they're seeing pain points within the environment through their backups not completing, or, particular hosts that are really, really up against it. This visualizes the whole lot. And again, it's a collaborative tool. So you can invite the customer to run it. They'll get a link to download it. As I say, always driven, very, very simple to set up. No impact on their environment either. It uses the existing performance collection metrics within inside the operating systems themselves. So we do get a lot of concern for customers, like, oh, if we run this, we've got a production environment, is it going to slow things down? No. The operating systems that are there today already log in their performance statistics and all the configuration. All Live Optics is doing is basically polling the data and pulling that out in a timely fashion and uploading it to the portal. And in terms of customer data itself, there's no actual customer data, database information. It's all about configuration and performance metrics that's getting uploaded. And again, it assesses on-prem workloads. It will even assess workloads in the cloud. So if customers are looking to repatriate workloads back on-prem, for instance, they've made the leap into AWS, for instance, and they've suddenly got a 20 grand a month bill, and they're thinking, oh, this ain't quite cheap as we thought it would be, and we actually want to move these workloads back on-prem, or the latency between running stuff in the cloud versus on-prem, and they want to essentially pull those workloads back. Again, this can assess those workloads in the cloud as well, and then we can build solutions on the back of that that are going to be fit for purpose to host those workloads on-prem. It will even show you the pricing difference as well. So if you run it on a workload, on-prem, for example, and the customer wants to see how much it would cost them to run on a monthly basis in AWS or in Azure or Google, it will give you an up-to-date monthly cost of how much it would actually be to put it in the cloud. And then, of course, we could build an on-prem solution to compare that to, and the customer's got full visibility of, right, do we take this route all in the cloud or on-prem, or a mixture of the two even. So yeah, it really gives you the full view. And not only do we assess the customers, well, as I say, it's the entire customer environment, it's servers, networking, storage, the backup environment. We can even take data directly off storage arrays to get more granular information. Even out of the backups as well, we can look at how the backups are running, how much capacity they're using, if they're hitting Windows, the whole lot, even into applications themselves. So we can see how an SQL or an Oracle database is performing, and what we'd need to, if we're doing a replacement solution, for example, what we'd need in the future to run that comfortably. So again, really, really powerful tool, completely free. Simple link to download. It's just an invite you send to the customer, and again, everything is just automated from that point onwards. Again, any questions around that, guys? I've been running Live Optics myself for many, many years, so I know it quite well. So yeah, there's not a lot of environments we've come across, where we've even run into problems running this. So yeah, really, really useful tool, and of course free. So again, the partner benefits to you guys, you know, it will help you become a trusted advisor. You know, it's too simple to, you know, you get presented with an opportunity, go, right, yep, what you after, and then just kind of put a finger in the air. What this really shows your customers is that, you know, you care, you want to know exactly all the ins and outs, what's happening. So when we build a, you know, a solution for the assessment, we know it's going to be fit for purpose. Yeah. So, you know, the risk to the customer, the risk to yourselves and anyone else in between is absolutely minimal because, you know, we've done our due diligence here. And just one little extra announcement around this. You may have seen it in the news feeds, but Dell have recently acquired RV Tools. So not many people may have heard of RV Tools. It was always a free tool. It's been around for many, many years. But it was a tool for monitoring and assessing VMware environments. And it's been downloaded millions of times, used by lots and lots of customers out there. And what that really brings to the Live Optics kind of bag of tools. Now, Live Optics was always able to run with RV Tools. You know, if you've already been using it and you've got data out of it, you could import that into Live Optics, so you didn't have to run another assessment. But what RV Tools does is it gets really, really granular with VMware. So all I can see, obviously, you know, from Dell's perspective, you know, it's just the announcement at the moment, but I believe, you know, knowing what I know about Live Optics and what RV Tools does, it's just going to make Live Optics greater. Yeah, it's going to give more detail, you know, more thorough analysis of a VMware environment, and give us that extra kind of extra dots above the eyes, to know exactly what we're pulling out of a customer environment is you know, exactly down to what we need to know. So as I say, guys, you know, Live Optics, fantastic tool. It's been around for a while now. You know, it's very, very stable, the whole lot. Very little risk, well, no risk, I'd say, to customer environments. There's a full security brief you can download, you know, in terms of, you know, if a customer does have security concerns. As I say, it's an automated tool that will automatically upload all the gathered data back to the portal. However, there are customer sites out there, of course, which are dark sites. They have, you know, no outside internet connectivity directly. But there's ways around that. We can run it locally and then upload the output separately. So there's always ways around it. And, you know, federal customers in the US run this tool for their own assessments. And we know, you know, when it comes to the US federal environments, they are, you know, security is top of the list on everything. So, yeah, really, really great tool. It's certainly the first thing we always ask for. So if you come to myself, you know, I've got this opportunity, you know, customers' existing environment, we want to, you know, refresh it, etc. The first thing I always ask is, have we run a Live Optics? If not, can we run a Live Optics? You know, there might be some reasons why we can't run it. You know, that's fair enough. We'll work around it. But 9 times out of 10, you know, Live Optics is in play. We'll run it for a few days. You know, we generally say 3 to 7 days, ideally. You know, it's one of those things, the more data we gather, the more accurate it's going to be. And if we can capture it at busy times of the day or month, then we're going to know exactly, you know, how hard hit the environment is. So we know the next thing we build as a solution is going to cover all those peaks of performance requirements. So just going to finish off now on where we are within Westcoast. So this is the Dell ISG sales team. So as you can see there's quite a few of us in the mix now. You know, as Olly said at the start, you know, we'll cover everything through the deal registration process. So we'll support you on that all the way through. You know, myself in the middle there, you'll see there, Solutions Architect Mike Sims, towards the upper rightish there. And then there's a whole team with me on that as well. So, you know, between myself and the rest of the team, we will get involved with calls, demos, you know, any kind of consultative approach, through to building the quotes themselves, getting the pricing from Dell, etc. You know, all the relevant discounts and everything in place. And then, you know, right through to the procurement stage. And then we've got people like Larry Smith there in the top right hand corner, you know, who's dedicated to the Dell Apex sales side of things. So, you know, he's a complete expert when it comes to the ins and outs of the financing, I'll hold my hands up, and that's where my skill set ends. I'm the technical guy, shall we say, and that's where the commercial guys can really help out on that to get the right approach in from a financial perspective and get to the right price for the customer as well. Obviously, I ain't going to reel off everyone that's on this list, but we've obviously got our BDMs that many of you will know that are assigned to your accounts, all led by Ian Fisher. Great guy, been around a long time. I'm sure many of you know who he is and know him personally. But yeah, the ISG team as a whole, as I say, we do everything from start to finish. So if you're unfamiliar with the Dell product set, more than happy to run enablement sessions for you, or be on calls with your customer, run the call on your behalf. Just this week I was doing Apex backup services demos, got more planned for next week. So I've got access to proper live environments where we can show the real deal of these environments and what they'll do for the customers. So, and again, they'll have a massive portfolio. We can't all be level 10 experts in all the products. So where we are falling short on our personal knowledge or anything like that, the rest of us, myself coming from Dell, I have direct links into those specialists within inside Dell. So if there's ever a question that I get asked that I can't answer, I've got a direct route into Dell anyway, and I can get those answers very, very quickly, or get a specialist on the call to have that conversation if need be. So that's us. Ollie, is there anything you wanted to say on the end of it? You think I've covered everything?
Yeah, well, thanks a lot, Mike. It's there's some fabulous tools out there for us to engage with. I think it's just being given the opportunity to engage earlier and become more important. As I said earlier, we are super hungry to work with customers on the Dell ISG piece, and I honestly say I will believe we will do more than the competition in the market. There's no complacency in house. We're hungry to win business, and we'll do everything to support. I work on the commercial side of business, so as I say, looking at the things like the pricing structures, rebate structures, promotional structures, etc., marketing, and obviously, as we saw on this last slide, there's a lot of people in the sales department to back me up with sales management and BDMs to basically create a bit of a bespoke model for you. The idea is that we are the most out-facing distributor on the block. We want to get to know people and let you know people inside here, where you can see inside distribution. You want to come and have a look at the warehouse, come and have a look. It's an absolute monster, and it's an impressive organisation. So, please do reach out. As I said, we want an opportunity to work with you. But thank you for attending today. There's plenty more of these things to come. Lots of social events coming up, so please keep your eyes out on LinkedIn and the marketing stuff, and from messages from your BDMs. But again, thank you for today, and Mike, thanks for your input. It's much appreciated.
Welcome. Yep. I don't think we have anything in the Q&A. So I think we're all good on that. However, if there's anything that comes up between now and whenever, feel free to reach out to us. More than happy to answer any questions or help out with any opportunities. And yeah, thank you again for your time. I think we're going to give you about 20 or so minutes back. if there's no questions.
Yeah, so email addresses is Olly, OLLY.Moorby@westcoast.co.uk, and Mike is mike.sims@westcoast.co.uk. Reach out, drop us a line.
Brilliant. Well,
thanks everybody. Take care.
Thank you again for your time. Thanks very much. Have a great day.